Hello and welcome to my existential crisis. My name is Madison Epley.
I'm Hailey Guthrie.
And I think we both had existential crises this week. Yeah. It's been a week.
I literally just got done having a mental breakdown.
Why did you have a mental breakdown?
Mental.
How's your dog?
Oh, he's fine.
Okay.
Muscle spasm or something.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, So, for those of you who don't know, we had to take our dog to the vet last night because every time homeboy stood up, he would whine and yelp. And that started around noon when I was at work. So, Christian was just waiting for me to get home, and then I was in the room with him, and then he would stand on his front legs, but it seemed like he just couldn't stand on all four. So I started thinking it was his back legs, and then we tried figuring out how the hell we were going to get him into the car, because he was upstairs in the bed, and we were like, we don't know how we're going to get him downstairs, we don't know how we're going to get him to the car, we don't know how any of this is going to work, and we tried a bunch of different things, and my boyfriend tried to just go and grab him underneath, carry him, and he screamed. So Christian was like, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was like, okay, never mind. And then finally we were just like, you know what, let's just try this. Come on. And he got up, he walked down the stairs, he walked to the car, and we were like, oh, okay, maybe he's fine. And then he walked to he got in the car just fine, and then we got to the vet, and he got out of the car just fine. He seemed okay, and we explained the situation to the vet when she came in, and then she was, feeling his, back muscles, and she found a spot that he did not appreciate her finding. And
oh no, poor baby.
She was like, yep, that's what I thought. She said that he probably overdid it, and, hurt his...
Pulled something?
Yeah, pulled something, hurt his back a little.
Oh, poor baby.
Which is why every time Christian would try and go around him and pick him up, it would hurt, because he was trying to keep his back so straight and rigid that whenever he gets picked up, obviously his back is going to bow, and it would hurt. So, prescribed him some steroids, some muscle relaxers. He is currently zonked out on the bed. He seems to be feeling a lot better, though, which is good. But yeah, it was definitely scary yesterday.
Yeah. I'm glad he's feeling better. I'm glad that you found it and it wasn't anything serious. He just overdid it. He's an excited boy.
Yeah, he's a good boy. Other than that, it's just been, a mentally draining week, as it always is.
I understand that.
But it's fine.
I understand that. Did you get any information back on your sleep apnea test?
Apparently I don't have it, which...
What the
hell? I'm pissed for so many reasons.
I'm sorry.
Because...
I'm sorry that you don't have answers.
Yeah, me too. I now owe, the hospital $500. And I'm pissed because it's why am I paying you money? I just don't... Yeah. I'm so mad about it. I'm so mad that I don't know what's wrong. I'm so mad that I owe them money. I'm so mad because they want me to do an in-hospital sleep study now, and I said to my boyfriend, I don't want to do it because if, I don't want to pay them more money just to be told nothing is wrong when I definitely feel like something is wrong. But it's been frustrating.
Well, do you know how much it would cost?
No, I don't.
How much your insurance?
I don't know.
They can't give you a quote beforehand.
I don't know. I need to go to the doctors and talk to them about it. I want to get my meds.
I gotcha.
I want to get my meds upped. I want to get. I don't know. I'm just a lot of depression. I'm feeling a lot of hopelessness. I'm feeling, but it's fine.
Well, I love you, Buff Buff, and I'm here for you.
I love you too. Thank you. How has your week been?
Well, we decided last week or the weekend prior that we're moving, so that was not planned. But I'm excited. It's also just been very stressful. Right now, our entire apartment is ripped to shreds. I had just set up our Christmas tree and all of our Christmas decorations, and then I had to tear it all down.
Oh.
Yeah, I was really upset about that because you know how much I love Christmas. yeah, so it's just been really stressful and hectic. I did get my new car. I like it. It's just like literally everything just happened all at once between us having to move and me getting my car, and even like I was like, "Hey, I'm moving. This address will no longer be relevant on these car papers. Like, what do I need to do?" They're like, "Well, it has to stay that way." So, and I'm like, "Cool, that's great." And then I don't know. It's just I'm also having a week like in the middle of everything. I just tapered off of my old medication and I'm starting a new medication. So like I'm already not doing great and not feeling great. And I feel really shitty for not being excited, but I physically can't feel excitement. And I don't know how to explain that to people without, I don't know. I just feel shitty. Like I want to be excited and like in theory I'm excited, but like when I say I haven't felt excitement in a very long time before taking my last meds, I mean like I have not felt actual excitement.
Right.
So I just kind of I feel shitty that like I'm sure I sound like a huge pessimist and I just sound so ungrateful, even though, you know, I bought myself a new car and like I'm moving to a bigger apartment for us with, you know, it's all good things. I just like I can't feel anything but anxiousness and stress right now.
Right.
So I'm working through that, right. But it's fine. Everything's going to be fine. This will be the very last time I'm recording in this apartment. I'll have a new apartment next time. I can get a cat. That's going to be amazing.
Oh, that'll be good for you.
Yeah, I love cats. I miss having a cat. So I'm so excited to have a little fur baby. But yeah, that's how my week's been. Sorry for this has just been like a emotion dump, but
yeah, it's been a rough week for sure.
But yeah,
I haven't told you this. We're gutting our kitchen after Christmas.
You did not tell me that. No,
yeah, we're taking it down to the studs and just completely redoing our kitchen.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so that'll be fun.
But that'll be exciting.
Yeah, I'm
How long is it gonna take to do all that? Are you doing it yourself?
Yeah, we're doing it ourselves.
Oh shit.
Christian seems confident that it'll only take about a month. I don't know. I'm optimistic about it. I think it's gonna be easier than I think we think it's gonna be. I don't know.
What all are you doing? Just like replacing the cabinets?
We're
like
not replacing
like
the cabinets. No, not everything. We're taking the walls down and putting up drywall.
Okay.
We're taking the cabinets down. We're going to repaint them. And like just refurbish them, and then getting a new countertop. And
that'll be
yeah,
nice.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the change for sure. We're gonna rip up the carpet that's in the kitchen because carpeted kitchens are a sin.
Who does that? I hate houses that I lived in a house with a carpeted kitchen
stupid.
And like somebody explain that to me.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
People are stupid.
But
I don't know.
But so we're gonna rip the carpet up in the kitchen and we're gonna put down new floors. Thank the Lord. Because that's terrible.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
I hope it all goes well and smoothly.
I'm excited about your new apartment. I'm excited about the pool that's there. I'm really excited about the pool that's there.
You guys can come over and swim at the community pool. That'd be great. And I'll have 2 bedrooms. You'll have an actual bed to sleep in and not a community room in the basement or the floor. Or like
your couch is not uncomfortable. I do not mind your couch.
I like napping on my couch too. And I'll be able to have more than just a single couch. I'll be able to have a dining room table.
Oh, that'll be nice.
For more seating. Yeah, I can host dinner parties and game nights. It'll be great.
Yes, it will. You know what else is great?
What?
Disappearances.
Do you have one for me?
I do. I have a few. I have 3.
You have a few. Oh, shit.
I mean, they're all the same story, but there are multiple people involved.
I have no idea what this is going to be, but I'm excited.
All right. You know lighthouses, right? You know about them.
Are you doing the... I think I know what you're doing. Yes, I do. Okay. Keep going. I'm so excited.
So, on the night of December 15th, 1900, there was a transatlantic steamer known as the Arctur making a voyage to the port of Leith from Philadelphia. This transatlantic steamer passed a lighthouse on the Flannan Isles, and the light was off. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with lighthouses, because I don't know if they're a functional thing anymore. Like, do you think so? I feel like they should be.
I feel like some of them are. I feel like there are some that are functional and some that are just, like, historic.
I feel like they should be functional. Like, I feel like there's still a purpose there. But for those of you who don't know what lighthouses are because you live in landlocked area or whatever, a lighthouse is a very tall building that sits on a coast, and it lights up and it flashes to let sailors and, like, people with boats let them know how close they are to the shore so that way they don't crash into it. But so what I'm getting at there is that the fact that the light was off is not good. They docked in Leith 3 days later, and they made sure to let the Northern Lighthouse Board know that something was wrong on Flannan. They dispatched lighthouse relief, the ship Hesperus, to investigate, and they arrived at the island on Boxing Day. To be honest, I don't know what Boxing Day is.
Isn't that a Canadian
No,
thing?
it's a British thing. It's a British thing. It's the day after
It's
Christmas.
Canada's Black Friday. Yeah, it's like, he said it's like Canada's Black Friday.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, he's right. Boxing Day is a holiday celebrated after Christmas Day, occurring on the second day of Christmastide. Though it originated as a holiday to give gifts to the poor, today Boxing Day is primarily known as a shopping holiday. We don't do that in America.
No, we just have Black Friday.
Yeah. So they arrived at the island on Boxing Day, and they sounded their horn and sent up a flare just to let them know. Okay. They arrived at the island on Boxing Day, and they sent up a flare and sounded their horn to let the lighthouse keepers know that they were coming. And nothing happened. The lighthouse keepers James DeCat, Thomas Marshall, and William MacArthur were nowhere to be found. They got off the boat, and the relief lighthouse keeper Joseph Moore went up all 160 steps to the lighthouse.
160 steps?
Yeah. I would not. No. When he came into the living quarters, Moore noticed that the clock on the kitchen wall had stopped. The table was set.
Shit.
The table was set for a meal that had never been eaten, and a chair had been toppled over.
I fucking hate this. These type of things creep me out. They give me chills. Like, keep going. I'm sorry.
Moore reported his findings to the captain of the Hesperus. They sent another 2 sailors to shore, and they and Moore began looking for the missing crew members, the missing lighthouse keepers. Thorough search of the lighthouse complex turned up nothing but a set of oilskins, which suggested that one of the keepers had just went out in just like his normal everyday clothes. And they went to the landing platform, which had evidence that the island had recently been hit by a massive storm. The supply box had been smashed open, and its contents were strewn across the ground, and it was despite being over 100 feet above sea level. Iron railings on the side of a path had been bent and twisted out of shape. Part of a railway track had been torn from its moorings, and a huge rock weighing more than a ton had been displaced.
What the fuck?
Turf had also been ripped up from the tops of the cliffs 200 feet above sea level, and there was still no sign of the lighthouse keepers. Harvey's conclusion was that they had been blown over the cliffs or drowned trying to secure a crane or something like that, according to him, in a telegram that he sent to the Northern Lighthouse Board. He left Moore and 3 sailors behind to tend to the light and continue the search. They scoured the islands for the 3 missing men, but they found nothing. On December 29th, the board superintendent, Robert Muirhead, began an investigation into the keeper's disappearance. He knew all 3 of the missing men pretty well. He examined the oilskin and concluded it belonged to William MacArthur. And after going over the wreckage on the western landing, he speculated that Marshall and Ducat must have been headed out into the storm to try to secure the equipment stored there, and when they did not return, Muirhead surmised that MacArthur must have ventured out to try to find them. He stated, "From evidence which I was able to procure, I was satisfied that the men had been on duty up till dinner time on Saturday the 15th of December, that they had gone down to secure a box in which the mooring ropes, landing ropes, etc. were kept, and which was secured in a crevice in the rock about 110 feet above sea level, and that an extra large sea had rushed up the face of the rock, had gone above them, and coming down with immense force had swept them completely away."
Okay. Like, I understand that, like, there was a big storm. That makes sense logically, but it doesn't explain everything else, which is what gets me.
Well, I mean, like, I guess it makes, like, that makes the most sense to me, probably.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I could see, like, I'm MacArthur, and I'm setting up dinner, and I'm getting things done for my boys, and they don't come back after a while, and I'm probably just gonna be like, let me go find them. Let me go look, and then you get caught up in a storm.
Yeah, that makes sense, but, like, the clock is stopped, and the bars are bent. Like, even if there is a storm, the water isn't gonna bend, like, those iron bars like that.
Yeah, well, people would agree with you, people back then. The public, as they would say. The public.
I am the voice of the public.
A lot of theories came about after Muirhead and Harvey's reports, and they're a little crazy. They're a little wild.
Let's hear them.
Some theories were the men were eaten by a giant sea serpent, or taken away by a huge seabird.
A bird.
A huge seabird.
A huge seabird.
I mean, I don't know about the sea serpent. They have no arms to twist the bars, so that one doesn't seem...
I don't know.
But the bird...
They could wrap around the bars and, like...
I don't know. One theory had the men leaving the island by boat so they could escape debts, while others had them spirited away by the skeletal crew of a ghost ship.
What kind of debts?
I don't know.
Like, you're already living on an island that a lighthouse... You're already a lighthouse keeper, one of the arguably most isolating jobs. Why do you need to run further? Like, that is the furthest you should have to run.
I don't know. Maybe, like, people knew. They were like...
Who is storming this island for them?
I don't know.
Banging on their lighthouse door. Give me my money.
The man.
The man?
I don't know. Probably... I don't know. I would storm a lighthouse to find people.
If they owed you money, how much money would they have to owe you for you to take a boat out and storm a lighthouse, climb 169 steps or whatever it was?
Yeah, when you throw in the 160 steps, I'm very much less. I don't care as much.
Less inclined to
never
storm
mind.
the
I don't care. Never mind. Some people also thought that the men had been kidnapped by foreign spies. What do they know?
Okay.
What do they know? How are they going to help you?
They don't. You know, I guess, like, if they are lighthouse keepers, maybe, like, Navy ships would come by and stop. Do the boats stop at lighthouses for things, or do they just see the lighthouse? I don't think so.
I think they really just...
Okay, then never mind.
Looked at the lighthouse and went about their business.
Okay, then never mind. No, that doesn't make any sense. Like, yeah, what are
I
these
don't
lighthouse
know.
keepers
I don't know
gonna know?
Why they
don't even know the news.
Yeah,
They don't even have the news.
That's a weird theory. I don't know.
That sounds like some early 1900s, like, newspaper gossip, propaganda.
Yeah, it is weird. There also was an emergence of a logbook, which supposedly contained several baffling entries between the 12th and 15th of December.
Yes.
In the first entry, Marshall is supposed to have written that a great storm, the likes of which he had never seen before, had hit the island. He continued that Ducat was unusually quiet when the storm hit, and MacArthur, who was not known to have much of a sensitive side by his friends and family, was said to be weeping.
Oh.
A second entry has all three men praying in the eye of the monstrous storm, and a third and final entry, supposedly written on the 15th, states that the storm had passed, and all was now calm.
Oh.
Many have questioned the idea that the men had been swept out to sea, because if anyone had died, I'm sure someone would have mentioned that. Whoever wrote the entries would have mentioned it.
They wouldn't have been like, oh, it passed. Everything's fine. Oh, by the way, 2 of my buddies got washed to sea. No, like that's, like they would have said something, but they didn't.
Yeah. But there's another explanation.
Okay.
The logbook entries are fake.
Okay.
There is no evidence that they ever existed.
Oh, shit.
And there's really no idea as to who or what produced them. Like, why would someone lie about it? Kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
But 3 theories have emerged over the years that look to explain the men's disappearance. First is based on William MacArthur. He was, as his friends and family would state, an ill-tempered man who was quick to settle an argument with fists. It had been speculated that he could have started a fight up on the Western Landing, which led to all 3 men falling to their deaths from the cliffs.
Oh, shit.
Second theory is that one of the men, which, again, probably MacArthur, as he seems to be the volatile one of the trio, murdered the other 2, ditched their bodies into the sea, and then threw himself off the cliffs.
But for what? Like, they got into an argument?
And
then why would he throw himself off of a cliff?
There's also no evidence that either a fight or murder took place.
Yeah, everything was, like, orderly and nothing was wrong. There was no evidence of a tussle.
The more plausible explanation is that Marshall and Decat were swept away while trying to secure the supplies, as other logs had stated, like, as other theories, like, from Harvey and Muirhead explained. When his colleagues failed to return, MacArthur also headed out into the storm, and just like his buddies, was swept out and perished in the storm.
Again, the sweeping out into the storm makes the most sense for me.
Right.
Like, especially if the storm was as bad as they were saying, totally makes sense. The thing I have an issue with is, like, everything else. All of the other details just don't make sense to me. Like, why is the clock stopping? There's no damage on the inside. Everything is perfectly fine. Did the battery just run out? Just happen to run out?
Maybe.
Like, why are the bars bent? That doesn't make sense for a wave to do that. It makes sense for a wave to, like, move a big boulder, like had been done, but it doesn't make sense that the bars are, like, manipulated in the way that they were.
Yeah.
Water is strong and it's heavy, but it's not doing that. It'll erode it.
Right.
It won't, like, bend it like that.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I do not know.
So, like, my brain wants to go to, like, aliens.
Aliens?
But I also
Why would they bend the bars, though?
I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea.
I can't think of any plausible explanation where the bars are getting bent up.
I know. That's what bothers me.
Yeah, I mean, we might never know what happened to we probably never will. This happened.
No, we never will.
This happened.
And it bothers the fuck out of me.
Over a century ago. We're never gonna know what happened to these guys. Sorry, guys.
Did they document any pictures that you know of like, the conditions on the island?
I mean, it was the 1900s. Did they have...
They had cameras. Yeah, they had cameras.
But didn't they take, like, forever, though?
They did, and they weren't, like, as popularly used, but they did use them for crime, I believe. I don't know if this would have constituted as a crime, because nothing was... They just disappeared, you know?
All the pictures I found are just of how pretty the lighthouse is. It is very pretty.
Yeah, that's all I'm seeing right now. It is very pretty. I don't see anything about the bars bending. Maybe if I could see, like, how much the bars are bending, I'd be further... Right. I'd be convinced a little bit more. Maybe if they were just, like, exaggerated to be, you know, warped and bent. But I don't know.
Want to visit this place. I think it's pretty.
This would be
if you were interested in the story, there's actually a movie based on it. The 2019 film The Vanishing. So if you liked hearing about the Flannan Isles Mystery and you want to know more, go ahead and check out The Vanishing.
I might
It's on Netflix.
Is it?
It's on Netflix.
Did you
Gerard Butler's in it. Oh, so is Taylor Swift's boyfriend. Yeah, might have to check that out.
Yeah. Did you see The Lighthouse with Robert Pattinson and William Dafoe?
No.
Willem Dafoe?
No, I did not.
I liked it. It was like this artsy, it was definitely a Madison film. It was very artsy and like dramatic. It was good. Lots of metaphors.
We love metaphors.
We love a good metaphor.
I would hate to work in a lighthouse.
It would be awful. And that movie, like, I never would have thought how bad it was to work at a lighthouse until I watched that movie, and I'm like, this sucks. Like, I don't know why anyone would sign up to do this shit. Like, it's a lot of physical labor. You're isolated. You don't have any kind of news of the world around you. Like, you can't have friends or family.
I'm good. I don't want to do that. I would
I don't blame you.
Hate that. What? They told me that Taylor Swift's boyfriend was in this, and I'm not finding him at all anywhere.
Maybe it's just like a small appearance and they make it out to be bigger than it is. Like how fucking Drew Barrymore is on the cover of Scream when she's only in it for the intro.
Yeah,
that pisses me off.
She did that on purpose.
That makes me so mad. I know. I hate when they do that shit.
I think it's funny.
Stupid.
But yeah.
All right, Hailey. How tired are you today?
I'm so tired. I'm always tired.
Well, I bet you've never heard of the sleeping sickness. I didn't hear about it until like 2 days ago, and it's blowing my mind. So I'll tell you about it. There was an epidemic in the early 1900s around the same time as the Lighthouse Mystery took place, where people would just like go into these comatose states and never come out of them. It was called Encephalitis Lethargica is the technical term for it, but it's also more commonly known as the sleeping sickness or sleepy sickness. And it was first identified by neurologist Konstantin von Economo, he was Russian, I think, and pathologist Jean-René Cruchet in 1917. And this happened from 1915 to 1926, the sleeping sickness epidemic. And it's not like the dancing mania where it was all made up and like it was just like a mania that they fell into. Like this was an actual illness that happened. And it spread to about 1 million people, and it caused over 500,000 deaths. Jeez. And of the people who survived, they really just never returned to how they were before they fell into this. And the images of this are terrifying. I'll send a link over to you just so that you can see just like how scary it, like I felt bad saying scary, but like just seeing people in these like frozen states, it's just really jarring. And it feels like they're statues. Like it's also known as like the human statue sickness.
That's not.
It's unsettling.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No. So my sources. No, not at all. So my sources are Wikipedia, and for those of you who come at me, Wikipedia has some really informative information, and I don't want to hear it. Like our teachers dissed Wikipedia so much, and like. For what? I get people can write whatever they want on it, but like a lot of it is very accurate. I don't know. I'm here for Wikipedia. The National Library of Medicine, Discover Magazine, Proto Magazine, and BBC News. So what is the sleeping sickness? Encephalitis lethargica would leave people in this statue-like condition, unable to move or speak for an undetermined period of time. They just didn't know whenever they would come out of this, if they ever would. Victims would experience a high fever, a sore throat, lethargy, a headache, double vision, delayed physical and mental responses, sleep inversion, which is like reverse cycling. You're awake during the nighttime and sleeping during the day. And just entering this catatonic state. In most severe cases, people would enter into a comatose state.
Severe
other
cases?
Symptoms included. Is that what I said?
Yes, it is.
Sorry. In the most severe cases, people would enter a comatose state. Other symptoms included abnormal eye movements, Parkinsonism, which is like Parkinson's disease. And if you don't know what that is, it's like a nervous system disorder that causes, it decreases your motor functionality. It could cause you to shake and loss of control over your body in general. Other symptoms included upper body weakness, muscular pains, tremors, neck stiffness, behavioral changes like psychosis, and clazomania, which is a verbal tic. People would just think that they had the flu whenever the initial symptoms would set on, because it was like nausea and a sore throat, and like maybe they'd like be a little cold or shaking a little bit. And then it would just like rapidly progress into this, and it would just be awful. So like imagine just like having the flu or thinking you have the flu, and then you just start deteriorating rapidly. Or if, even if you did actually just have the flu, you didn't know if it would turn into this. So how is it caused? We really don't know for sure. Some studies tried to link it to being an autoimmune response from a separate illness, kind of like, and especially during this time. I'm stuttering a lot. I'm really sorry. Usually I don't do this. And during this time, the Spanish flu was also really spreading. So that was kind of like their COVID. And like how during COVID, like people would have different autoimmune responses, whether it was like long COVID or loss of smell, loss of taste, things like that. Or like if things would flare up in your lungs because of COVID, that was kind of like what people think happened here. And that's honestly the most logical conclusion. And they actually found from the National Library of Medicine that encephalitis related symptoms were present in 78% of COVID patients at the time of diagnosis. And encephalitis just means like an inflammation in something, but specifically in this case, it was inflammation in the brain. And it's so scary. So even though they were studying EL and trying to figure out, they just don't have a definite conclusion. There is really little concrete evidence to prove that it was caused from the flu or a similar disease, even though that makes the most sense.
Right.
German neurologist Felix Stern, he examined hundreds of these patients and found that the disease would evolve in like 3 stages. You'd have the early symptoms, which is being overly sleepy, overly awake, and maybe like some early flu symptoms. Then the second symptom would be ocular. Basically, like your eyes would roll to the back of your head, essentially.
I wish people could see that because you really looked at it. No, like I wish people could see you because I saw you looking at the word and you said, "I'm not even gonna try."
No, I thought about it beforehand, and like I even like sounded all these words out.
Oculogyric.
Now I'm just like oculogyric crises. That's what it is. Oculogyric crises. And basically, like, your eyes just roll to the back of your head. Like, they roll up. You kind of, like, lose functionality in them.
Gross.
And that's part of what looks super unsettling about the images, because you just, like, lose control over your face. Right. And then the third stage is like the recovery or Parkinson's like symptoms. After 2010, when they were studying this disease, this virus that's transmitted through the intestine was found in a lot of these EL cases from the past. So that was thought to be a cause of it, but we just don't know for sure. And how it was cured was there was no cure. It's the only way that you can really go about it is just managing the symptoms, like Parkinson's disease. Like Parkinson's, you can't cure it. You just have to kind of like manage the symptoms of it, which sucks so bad. And I'm sorry, I'm like not doing well today. I don't know why I'm stuttering and like I can't fucking read. I'm sorry. There was little evidence of any real treatment given in the onset stages, but they did see that steroids could help. And then as the disease continued to progress, it showed evidence of brain damage like in Parkinson's. And in fact, they did find that in some cases, Parkinson's medications did show improvements in patients, but it was like super short-lived. I want to mention the physician, Oliver Sacks, was the ones who discovered this because he dedicated decades of his life to these patients and to trying to help them and find a cure for them. So like I think that's really amazing, and I think he did a lot to try to help them out. And he's the one who made this discovery. So people who did see progress, they made what looked like miraculous recoveries. They were getting up from their wheelchairs. They were, became conscious and responsive for the first time in like decades, in some of these cases. They became aware of the world around them. But shortly after, they would slip back into their catatonic state within weeks or even days.
That's awful.
For these people who are just stuck in this state, whether they're consciously aware of them not being able to move or not, like for them to gain back, I can't imagine like having a couple days of like, I'm doing better, and then just like nothing. You're just in a vegetative state again. He also wrote a book that was later turned into a movie by the same name called Awakenings, if you wanted to watch that one too. So about this pandemic, what happened, what did it look like? Very early reports started trickling in around Europe in 1915, but communication was really all over the place due to World War I, propaganda, just worse communication in general, and the fact that the symptoms were just kind of all over the place. Nobody could really pinpoint it yet. And it wasn't until 1916 where they really saw it being categorized as a single illness in Vienna. 10 days apart, the neurologists and the pathologists that I had mentioned before identified the disease separately in 1917. And like I had mentioned, 1 million is only the estimate of people that it infected. It could have been much more, but we really just don't know. And about 500,000 deaths are reported, but these numbers are likely to be much higher. It was most rampant during 1918 and 1919, and it actually most heavily affected younger people aged 15 through 35, and it infected women more than men. The Spanish flu arrived in 1918, and so while experts still don't believe that that was the cause of EL, it definitely exacerbated it and made it much worse due to just a lower immune response in general. And only 1/3 of survivors actually recovered to lead normal lives again. But they were recorded to have developed neurological and psychiatric disorders down the line, and sometimes just years, decades after they had first had it. So like you get it at 15 and you could be like 50 and have repercussions from it. It just kind of like stays in your system.
Right.
2/3 of survivors ended up needing some type of continuous medical care for the rest of their lives, from more minor symptoms to constant nursing and like 24/7 watch, which is just tragic. And there was such a variance in outcome, which is why it was so hard to diagnose. There were some people who deteriorated quickly and died. Some people had effects that just like stayed consistently. Some people, it just like slowly trickled and worsened. And some people, it went away completely, which is more rare, but it did happen. So some of the people would describe it who came out of their catatonia, they would describe it as a real life nightmare, as if they were frozen in time. Some of these people were aware of what was happening to them. They could still think and they could still like process information, but they couldn't move and they couldn't do anything about it. So like imagine just like sitting there and like seeing people and doctors trying to like treat you, or just like you just can't snap out of this. It's just terrifying. In one case, a girl was struck with paralysis on one side of her body suddenly, and then it soon followed the other side, and within 10 days she was dead. Jesus. It would happen that quickly. And the most recent case that we were able to find was in 1993. A 23-year-old woman named Becky Howells suddenly became very ill with a fever, shaking, sweating, hallucinations, and doctors just didn't know what the cause was. Her dad was told, like, it could be any minute she just dies. But they finally concluded that it was EL, which they hadn't seen. They hadn't seen it since the early 1900s. They tested her a lot. She didn't have the flu, any kind of similar disease, or any kind of underlying medical conditions. It seemed like it had just come on suddenly. She did end up recovering, but it took 2 years before she could fully resume her normal life again. And since Becky, more modern cases have been discovered, and not all with the same outcome that Becky got. One woman who contracted EL needs full-time care from her partner.
Right.
Yeah, it's just awful. Dr. Russell Dale, he was shocked in the late 1990s to see how much more common it was, and he made a mission to study it. So other doctors in the medical community began referring their patients to him, and he was able to identify 20 more patients. And their main clue was that basically all of the patients complained of a sore throat before EL, which made then begin studying like the strep bacteria as a potential cause. And it seemed like this simple bacteria just caused this massive immune response in these patients, and then they contracted EL. So basically their brains were trying to fight this strep bacteria and ended up just destroying itself. So this can't be verified, but it is the most likely conclusion. And like, there's just no way to know how to prevent it. Like, there is no way to know if it's going to happen to you. Like, any type of sore throat that you could get, you could just get this. It's just crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's terrifying.
I'm gonna live in fear of sore throats now forever.
Yeah, like anytime you get a sore throat, you're going to be like, shit, this is it. This could be the time.
That's so weird. And we don't even know, like, we don't really know how it starts. We don't really know how to fix it. That's so weird.
And even if it starts, you just think it's like a cold or the flu. Yeah. You don't think it's anything bad. It's only until you start being paralyzed that you know anything is wrong, and then there's no way to fix it.
Right. Don't love that.
No. I will say, I think I'm not an immunologist. Spoiler alert. I don't know anything about biology, but I would say that I'm sure we have a better immune system and immune response now than in the early 1900s. Modern medicine has increased. We've been exposed to much more, different things. So I would say, like, I mean, look at COVID, for instance. Like, we didn't really see that type of thing happening during COVID. So I don't want to say we're in the clear, but I think that because we are more advanced medically and scientifically, I think there's just a much less chance. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you cut out a little bit.
I hit a button on David's computer, and he has like these race car pedals at the bottom. I think it's to pause and unpause things, but he's like this full fucking gamer setup, and he has like these gas pedals at the bottom of his computer, and I hit one of them. Sorry.
It's fine.
But yeah, that's all I've got. It just kind of came and went, and it was a real disease, and it just left people frozen. But yeah, that's all I've got for you. Just,
I do
take those elderberry vitamins.
I do have one more thing I would like to say before we say goodbye.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
So do you know about the boy in the box?
I just heard about that. Yes, I just saw that in the news today.
Those of you,
they finally identified him.
For those of you who don't know, the boy in the box was a 4-year-old boy who was found dead in Philadelphia, on February 25th, 1957. There were a lot. I don't want to go too deep into it because I just want to talk about the recent developments. So if you want to know more about him, you can look up Boy in the Box. There are probably so many YouTube videos, podcast episodes, so many about this young boy. He was finally identified. On November 30th, 2022, the Philadelphia Police Department announced that they had identified the child through genetic testing and investigative genetic genealogy, which is coming in clutch quite a lot lately. That's how...
Oh my gosh.
That's how...
Golden State Killer.
Lady of the Dunes. That's how they're doing things now. December 8th, 2022... The child was publicly identified as Joseph Augustus Zarelli, born on January 13th, 1953. So,
amazing.
Still unsolved, his murder.
But at least I know who he is now.
He has living family, apparently, so they will be informed of that. And, once again, just another case of genetic testing and genetic genealogy closing something. It's not, the book on this boy is not closed, but this chapter has come to an end and he finally has a name. So just wanted to,
That makes me so happy.
Just wanted to mention that before we go.
Yes. Thank you for doing that. I just saw that in the news this morning. And like, I even saw, I had never seen it before. They had the headstone that they made for him. Let me read what it says. Heavenly Father, bless this unknown boy. And he's just been unknown ever since, but the city paid for this headstone and like paid for his funeral. And he's known as America's unknown child. And he finally has a name. And even though, like Hailey said, his crime isn't solved yet, at least we're one step closer and we actually know who he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw that. Thank you for mentioning that. That made me really happy this morning. Thank you for listening to this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have any topics you'd like us to cover, please send us an email, send us a DM. We'd be happy to do that. I have one request that I'm going to do next week when things are a little less hectic in my life. I didn't have time to cover it, but we definitely want to cover the stories that you want to hear. So just feel free to let us know. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at MEC. Oh my gosh, I don't even know our fucking handle. ME Crisis Pod. We're also on YouTube and anywhere you find your content. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. Anything else you want to say, Guff Puff?
Well, thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.